Hello and welcome to my beginner's guide for political advisors. Political advisors are going to be these three slots, so you can have three different ones, but you can't use the same guy twice. So you could not use Rudolf Hess twice, but for example, Rudolf Hess and Martin Bormann are both silent workhorses, so you could have two silent workhorses. So you can have the same type, just not the same person, and you can have up to three. So the first one I'm going to be talking about, just to get over with, is in my personal favorite, also the Silent Workhorse. It's 15% political power gain. It's pretty good. It takes a little while to pay for itself, so the earlier you take it, the better. But you're going to want to get it because your laws in government, your economy guide, your economy law, your exports, your conscription laws, all of your research and production, and your military staff require political power. Also, decisions require political power. And if you really want to get all of your political advisors and everything in a decent amount of time, you are definitely going to be wanting to take a silent workhorse. Another thing that's important is, as you can see, democratic reformer, communist revolutionary. Here there is fascist demagogue, and then there's also monarchist media. The most important thing about these is they just change the ticks on changing your ideology. In my personal opinion, you should only take these if you are trying to change ideology and are trying to do it quickly. For Germany, I don't really see any reason to take the communist one, for example, because there's no communist path. At least currently, there's no communist path. There's fascist, monarchist, and democratic. And even then, as you can see, there is reestablish free elections or Wahl der Kaiserreich in these. Sorry, no, not Wahl der Kaiserreich. It is one of these down here gives taking monarchist support. Yes, it is. It is. Daily support for an line 0.110. So those are useful for trying to change your ideology quickly, but not the best. Here's one Prince of Terror. Pretty good. Damage to garrison goes down. Foreign subversive activities efficiency goes down. It's a really good one. There's non-core manpower. So anything you don't have a core, you can check if you have a core by clicking on state owner and highlighting over it, so that's a core state. For example, yeah, see, you can see Poland has a core state there. Anything that's not a core state, you get less everything. Less manpower, less use of the factories, less use of the resources. So getting extra manpower is really good if you're trying to really squeeze out just a little bit. Backroom Backstabber is very similar to Silent Workhorse. Not as good in my opinion because there's ideology drift defense. So if someone were to, for example, let's say we want to make Poland fascist, we could go over here and we could, let's see, where is it? I know there's a way to do this. We'll just forget. There's ways to. We'll use our national focus because that's actually a good way to show it. If we go over here, we demand the Rhineland. We go down, and then we try to befriend Denmark. They get fascist influence, which gives daily fascism support. So if you were playing as Denmark, you might want to get a national focus that gives, a political advisor that gives you drift defense, because that will decrease the rate at which we would be turning them fascist. That is, of course, assuming they wanted to stay a democracy. So not as good as our Silent Workhorse, but not horrible. Anti-Fascist Agent. Personally, that 10% stability is pretty good, but I would not be going towards anything that decreases a specific ideology. If I really wanted to change the ideology that bad, I would be going for one of them that actually increases the one I want. So let's say I wanted to go Democratic. I would rather get my Democratic reformer than an Anti-Fascist Agent, because from decreasing fascism, it could also go to communist and non-aligned, which I don't really want. Here's a good one that's you might think about. Captain of Industry versus War Industrialist. Refinery, construction speed, infrastructure, civilian factory versus military factory, dockyard, and fuel silo. The big two things you're going to be building here, this is the difference between civilian factories and infrastructure or military factories. A new player might be tricked into thinking the military factory one is better because you want more military factories to build more guns. But since you're going to be building civs earlier, and those civs are going to be used to build military factories, plus you also are going to be wanting to be building infrastructure, I would take a captain of industry over a war industrialist any day. No question. Maybe I would take both a captain of industry and then switch to a war industrialist later on. That's something you might want to think about if you have a large excess of political power, but I would never go straight into a war industrialist. Armaments organizer, that's like a really late game thing. If you're wanting to switch between after you've built all of your civs, then you've built all your military factories and you've run out of space, then you might want to switch, or you really are in an emergency. Albert Speer might be okay with our armaments organizer because it's quicker to convert than it is to build a new one. So that might be a, oh no, we're in trouble, we need to pick something fast. Fortification engineer, land fort, coastal fort, anti-air. It's okay. I would rather get captain of industry, get more civs, and then use those to build land forts, coastal forts, and anti-air. I'd probably only pick fortification engineer if I've built all of my civ factories, and instead of switching over to war industrialist, if I was like playing Poland, for example, or France, I might do fortification engineer. If I feel like I really need to. Here's some good one. Economists, they're okay. Production efficiency cap's nice, especially early on, because really the only way to get it up is either through national focuses or through the technology. Clicked on the wrong one there. Production efficiency cap. But you do have to realize that that is less than half of a technology boost. So you gotta remember you can only have 3 at a time. So just because production efficiency cap sounds nice doesn't mean it's always the best choice. Liberal journalist, 0.05% democracy support, political power gain 5%. It's okay, not as good as a silent work. It's a mix between a democratic reformer and a silent workhorse. I would rather just have the silent workhorse, but if you really wanted to go democracy, getting a liberal journalist is okay. Elusive gentleman, that's pretty good. I like having extra operative is very nice, especially if you're going heavy into that, but I usually don't. A connected citizen, that's honestly, I'm not going to say that's bad. I like having the extra stability, but you do have to realize it does get capped. You can't go over 100% stability, and you can also get more through having higher popularity of your party. That's also another reason you might want to take, for example, if you have a lot of extra political power later in the game, you might want to do, like, for example, a fascist demagogue to switch. But once again, that's late in the game, and you might already have full stability. It's really something you play by ear. There's also, of course, other political advisors, but those are the main ones. If there's other ones in other countries you want me to talk about, just leave a comment below, but I'll let you know what I think about them. Just remember, the quicker you get these, the more of effect they have over the game. So political power gain 1936, let's say you play till 1945, that's 9 years it has to work. But let's say you are focusing on spending your political power on, I don't know, improving workers' conditions, promises of peace, demanding increased trade with the Dutch, and then you don't get this until 1939. That's 3 years of political power gain that you lost out on. And that doesn't just work with that, that's also with this. That's if you wait and you get captain of industry in 1939 instead of getting it right now, that's 10 years of 10% construction speed for civs that you're not having. That's less civs you have later in the game. So just remember, that's also not just with political advisors, that's with your military staff, your research production, everything. But I think that's it for this guide. If you guys have any questions, don't be afraid to ask, and I'll see you in the next video.